Hi everyone and welcome to Season 11, Episode 3 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we are in our first season in the Premier League. We talked last episode about trying to maintain an average of 1 point per game through the season, which will get us to about 38-40 points, and that would probably see us safe in the division. So far, with 11 games played, we're on 12 points, so we're pretty much on track for it. But unfortunately, Abu Bakar, our number one goal scorer, is injured for 3 months. Oh dear. Let's see what happens today anyway. So yes, let's deal with this straight away. Abu Bakar, who has been brilliant for us so far this season, scored 9 goals in 12 starts for us, is now injured and he's going to be out for 3 to 4 months with a hip injury. It was an accidental collision in training, I seem to remember. And he is going to be out for the next 3 to 4 months. We are sitting in the early part of November, so we're not looking to get him back till probably about April time. That's a long old part of the season for our number one goal scorer to be injured. And I'm really, really disappointed by that because he had started very nicely. It's going to give other players an opportunity. But so far, the backup option of specifically Battersby in our squad hasn't really done it so far. We're just going to go and briefly have a look at him and see where he's at. So he's been on the bench most of the time this season. 6.4 average rating. Only a couple of starts, a couple of substitute appearances, but didn't do anything in either of those games that he's played. And therefore has been dropped down the pecking order slightly. At the point where Henderson, our third choice young striker that came in the summer, started to complain about no match time really, and he hasn't had any so far. Now is his chance. We are chucking him in at the deep end today in our match today against Bournemouth in the Premier League to see what he can do. If he's going to complain about not having match time, he's going to have to step up now. He's going to get some. So it's disappointing that Abu Bakar is out for so long. We've got a couple of reasonable players. In January, we might have to find another option, possibly, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. For today, though, we are playing Bournemouth, who are sitting down in 19th position in the league. And it's these sorts of games that we've had to try and get as many points from as is possible. Let's just go check out the most recent results and see how we've got on and see how we've managed to get our 12 points in the last 11 Premier League matches. So here we are in the schedule. You can see that our main points have come from a win against Newcastle, Everton and Burnley, which were really good wins. We were really unlucky in the cup competition against Man City. We put our reserve side out because I kind of assumed they would just annihilate us anyway. And they didn't at all. We got all the way through to penalties and unfortunately lost the penalty shootout. But we tried so hard on that one. A few days later, they did come back to haunt us in the Premier League. And they did beat us comfortably with our full strength side out. But ultimately, we've done okay. A point against Arsenal was a really good result for us. We got a point against Sheffield United and a point against Wolves as well. That's the makeup of our 12 points in 11 games. So far, it's gone very well. Very occasionally, like that Manchester City game in the Premier League and also the most recent match against Leicester, we have been dumped on a little bit. It's been challenging against the bigger guys. It's been okay other than that. But we are basically on track to achieve exactly what I want to achieve, which is those 38 to 40 points, really. Roughly 1 point every game in the Premier League should see us safe. So we're doing okay. I'm happy, I'm ecstatic about where we're sitting currently in, like 14th in the Premier League, which is amazing. Today we get 19th place Bournemouth, and there's some tricky games coming up. So we do kind of need to win these sorts of games if possible. In the next half dozen matches, we've got Chelsea, Leeds, West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United. That is a bad run for us. So today is kind of important. So let's see how we get on. So obviously we've talked about Abu Bakar being out for today's match and several more to come. If we're honest, he's going to be out for most of the season. We've also got Herbie Kane and Opoku out as well, one of our central midfielders and our left-sided winger. So they're both out, but they'll only be out for a couple of days. So they'll be back next match, I would imagine. So there has have to be a little bit of a reshuffle. Instead of Abu Bakar, we've brought Henderson in. Opoku is replaced by Dudita, and Sarmiento comes onto the bench. I've got a lot of high hopes for Dudita. I think he's going to be fantastic for us if he can settle down into the club a little bit. And the other one, of course, is on the bench. Primarily, we brought Barry into the bench instead of Herbie Kane. So those are the main changes that we've made today. As I say, disrupted a little bit by injury. The rest of the setup remains the same. We're playing as well as I could possibly have expected us this season. So for today's match against Bournemouth in the Premier League, we've got Mbayu in goal, Fink at right back, Benamor at left back, Baptiste and Nelson in central defence, Gonzalez, Diakita and Morrison in central midfield, Ibrahim on the right, Dudita on the left and Henderson up top, with a bench of Colombini, Fenn, Barry, Thompson, Wright Phillips, Sarmiento and Battersby. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've gone a little bit chilled out on the team talk, hands in the pockets, just saying we've got nothing to lose here. We know how good we are. Let's go show everybody what we can do. It's one of those games where we could still potentially get beaten by Bournemouth. Remember, at the beginning of the season, we are ranked 20th out of 20 in the Premier League. We are expected to go down without much of a fight. And so far, we're fighting harder than maybe people would have expected us to. Today's match could be anything. That Bournemouth have the ability to beat us. Definitely they do. But on our day, if we could just dig in a little bit, they're on a bad run. They're sitting in 19th. Maybe we could take advantage of that. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But in the early stages, hopefully we'll be competitive and not give too much away. Take away some silly mistakes that we've been making recently. Take away all the issues of getting players sent off or anything that gives advantages to our opposition that they just don't need to have. And let's see if we can compete. Very early on, 12 minutes in, there's not a lot going down. There's only a couple of shots from Bournemouth, none from us at the moment, and their shots weren't on target. There's the first one registered for us, but again, not on target. We're down on our possession stats today so far at 39%. Bournemouth keeping the ball pretty well. But yeah, 25 minutes in, and it continues not to be a lot that's happening. So whilst I got you here, might as well tell you that I'm on Twitch as well. Come and join me over on twitch.tv/the United City FM every weekday, 3 till 5 p.m, around that time anyway. Come and join me on the Discord and the Twitter to let me fill you in on exactly what times I go live, etc. But I'm having a great time over on Twitch. There's a lovely community that we're building. They're very supportive of me, and I'm really appreciative of that as Bournemouth go 1-0 up after 30 minutes. Shoretiri, one of the youngsters from Manchester United originally in the game, has obviously moved on and has found himself at Bournemouth, and he does a nice job at finishing this move off. It was a very good, well-held run. Opens up the space for him down the left-hand side of the penalty box. And eventually, there's just enough space for him to guide it past the goalie into that far corner. And we do go 1-0 down. It's a little bit of a whimper today so far. We've only had a couple of shots at goal in the first 40 minutes. At half-time, we might have to read them the riot act just a little bit to see if we can get them a bit more fired up for this second half. We're not going to do that till half-time. Hopefully we can jolt them at half-time, send them back out in the early section of the second half and catch Bournemouth by surprise a little bit. But I'm not particularly happy with that. I'm far from pleased with it. That motivated the team. We're going to go into the tactics, and in the start of this second half, we're going to take a little bit of a gamble and change up the balanced mentality into attacking and see if we can properly have a go at Bournemouth in the first early stages of this second half. And therefore, as soon as we go back out, as is usually the case, we go in and we fire them up. and see if we can just properly send them out to go and do something early in this second half. Catch Bournemouth a little bit unawares. Let's see what we can do. But it's Bournemouth that nicked the ball from us. We did have the possession, and Bournemouth have counter-attacked very nicely, and eventually we just about claw it away. And Bayo in goal just about does enough with the help of his woodwork, I think, to potentially stop that from going in, and we claw it clear. But we're not making it stick anywhere. We're not passing the ball and keeping the ball well enough, unfortunately. So we're going to change our style of play up in a little minute or two if this doesn't change, because we need that ball a little bit more than we've had it. Again, it's Bournemouth working down the right-hand side, cut it into the centre, but Bayo, again, good hands, gathers the ball very nicely and holds on to it. Can he set us going? He does. Dudita wins the header. Henderson on the ball. Again, over to Dudita on this left-hand side, cuts in to the top of the box, has a strike at goal, but it's a fairly simple shot for Bassa, the goalkeeper at Bournemouth, to be able to clutch the ball with no problems. Ibrahim rides the challenge down the right-hand side on this occasion, on the early part of this highlight. And then he draws the challenge in from an already booked player on Bournemouth, and he gets a second yellow. And that is a player sent off for Bournemouth. And that is going to do us the world of good. For the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of this game, we now play 10 men. Can we make that count? We are in the attacking mentality. Hopefully we'll see an upturn in our possession and our movement of the ball. But so far, 5 or 10 minutes in of playing against 10 men, nothing has happened. We're going to have to pause the game there and go and do something about it. We need to make this count. So we're going to go into the 4-4-2, I think. I think that's what we'll do. And play slightly more direct to a front two. So we're going to take off. Morrison in the attacking midfield role, and we're going to put Battersby on, and we'll play him up alongside Henderson if we can get them to stick there. Thank you very much for that, Football Manager. We're going to take out Gonzalez because he's got a yellow card in central midfield. So we're going to bring in Daniel Barry for him just to play in that midfield role. We're going to change his role up to a central midfield role, just on support. Excuse me. And then we've got one more change that we can make. And I think it's going to have to be Ibrahim, who's on a 6.4 average rating on that right-hand side of midfield. So we're going to bring Wright Phillips in. And now that we've changed all of that, we're going to go and change it to, I think we're going to go wing play. And we're going to see if on very attacking, down the wide areas, we can potentially get some crosses in. Let's see if we can do this. We are going all out because we're against those 10 men. We've got a couple of very tired players, but they're going to have to see us through to the end of the game. When we go back into the shouts, we'll go in and demand more from the team for the last sort of 15 minutes or so of this match. Can we find an equaliser? There's all we need is those 1 points every game, if we can get them, to potentially stay in this division. It's a chance for us to do that here. But we're not making the most of it. Unfortunately, the possession stats have raised a bit, but the chances at goal are just not coming. 88 minutes gone. We've got a couple minutes left, and we're not doing enough. We're going to pause the game again. We've a couple of minutes left of injury time. We're going to have to change the style up again. The wing play's not working. Let's go route one. Is there anything else I want to change? Again, we're going to go full bore attack on them. And I think that's basically all we can do at this point, and see if we can get anything from a drop down. There's a throw in down this left hand side for Benamor, and it doesn't come to anything. They don't even show the throw in before the highlight goes, so I don't know what happened there. And it's just a little bit frustrating again, isn't it? I am absolutely 100% aware that we are, in theory, the worst team in this division. I do totally accept that. I understand that. But when you're against 10 men and you put them full bore on attack, and you, even for the last few minutes, get them to go long ball, and we create basically nothing, that's really frustrating at times. The possession stats were raised because we were against 10 men for that last section, but the chances created were fairly dreadful. And at the point where we need goals to lose our number one goal scorer for pretty much the rest of this season, and we're only in November, is going to cause us a problem. We might have to think about that in January. But for now, we lose a game that potentially we shouldn't have, because of that sending off. It doesn't help us in terms of staying on target and getting above target, let's say. But ultimately, this is the Premier League. This is the challenge that we've got ahead of us, and there'll be many, many harder teams to play than this. So there you go. Today, it didn't quite work out, but we've lived to fight another day. So just to keep it all in perspective, because it was a slightly disappointing result, if I'm honest, but Truro City, in our first season in the Premier League, we've played 12 matches, we're on 12 points, we're in 12th. If I get anywhere near that by the end of the season, I will be absolutely ecstatic. But to be honest, if I finish in 17th position on goal difference and stay up, I will be as ecstatic. That is the only thing that we are interested in this season. And at the moment, we are on schedule to do it in terms of getting the amount of points compared to the amount of games. If we can win a point a game, we basically stay up, and we're on task for that. So that's pretty good. In terms of the coming schedule, though, as we've seen early on, this is going to be a tricky run. We've got Leeds, West Ham, then we've got Liverpool. Chelsea is the next match. Then we've got Leeds and West Ham. Then we've got Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United, all in a row in December. Wish me luck for that one. What we're going to come back for again, what we're focusing on for this particular campaign as much as we can are those winnable matches. It's why I came back to play Bournemouth today. There's no point in me playing Man City and Man United on every episode this season and getting thumped 4-0. It won't be very good content. The things that we need to worry about are the teams around us. So Blackburn is the team that we're coming back for after that really big run of fixtures against the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United. We're going to play Blackburn in the next episode, and hopefully we can show that why we were ahead of them last season in the Championship. That's going to be challenging after a run of fixtures that we've got, but those are the things that we've got to achieve. We've got to beat the teams around us. So Blackburn in the next episode. Today, Bournemouth didn't quite work out. I think it probably should have been a bit better than it was. But that's football, and that's football in the Premier League. So thank you for joining me. I hope you're going to enjoy this Premier League campaign as we move forward, however tricky it's going to be. It's a real challenge for me to figure it out anyway. But so far, so good really in the big picture of things. Thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Go check all of my links in the descriptions to all my social medias, etc. in the links below. And until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.